Good morning, Southeast students and staff and families and whoever else is watching this. We are starting a new tradition here at Southeast High School. It's Alma Mater Monday. And for our inaugural Alma Mater Monday, we have a recent Southeast grad, I don't know, the last couple of years, Alex Harden. Alex, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm great. I'm excited. I'm glad that you're our first, kind of contestant in the hot seat a little bit here for this.
It's always nerve-wracking, but there's nothing to live up to, so here we go.
Hey, exactly right. We're kind of setting the bar here, so we'll see where it goes. So Alex, tell us a little bit. First thing, where did you go to college? What did you study? Let's start off with that.
Okay. I went to Wichita State University in Kansas. I studied biology pre-med, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right. So what did you do while you were at Wichita State? What was a hobby or something that you
did? Study, sleep, eat, sleeping and eating. That's probably the biggest hobby. And I played basketball.
Okay. What about your professional background now? Once you graduated from Wichita State, what'd you do?
I got drafted right after, during my senior year of college. And then I went on to play in WNBA for 2 years, got hurt my third, and now I'm professionally overseas.
All right. Where are you at overseas?
I'm in Israel right now, Tel Aviv.
Man, so as we're doing this, guys, this is like a 8-hour difference, right?
8-hour difference. I'm 8 hours ahead of you.
So it's the morning here, but it's early evening, right? It was like 5 o'clock?
5 o'clock.
Man, it's crazy. And that technology at sometimes is so awesome, right? Because we can have this conversation literally half a world away. So are you ready for the kind of the hot seat questions about Southeast and your time and everything?
I'm ready. Let's go.
All right. So what years did you attend Southeast High School?
I entered Southeast High School in 2008. 2007, 2008 year.
Okay. So then what did you graduate? Was that 2012?
2011.
2011. Man. Does it seem that far ago?
Yes.
It does?
No, it actually time goes by really fast. Like college went by super fast, and now these years as a pro has went by really fast. And now I'm like, oh, my 10 years next year. That's fun.
Yeah, my wife and I were just talking about that. So I'm an 03 grad, and we're coming up on, we're getting close to 20 years. And it's like, man, I don't feel like I've been out of high school for 20 years, but I guess I am. I still think I'm like that immature, still trying to figure out what I'm doing with my life, young adult. But I guess I'm kind of middle-aged now. I got to figure that out.
Yeah, no, I'm still in that phase, trying to figure life out.
So
I think it's an ongoing thing.
Yeah, we always want to learn and get better, right? And keep taking new steps. That's what I try and say. That's my excuse. So, Alex, do you remember who was your principal? Who was the principal at that time period when you were at Southeast?
Mr. Wind.
Mr. Wind, okay. Do you remember who your guidance dean was?
Miss Stratton.
Miss Stratton. Did they have an impact on you at all? Did you interact with them daily, or how were they?
Daily? You thought I was a bad kid? No, we always great smiles when we came in the building. Talked to them a few things. Not really that often though. We always had our meetings that we had to do with our guidance counselors, and then the principal. Every time I saw him around, we always spoke. It was always a good vibe with them.
Good. So, what extracurriculars, clubs, or sports were you involved with while you were at Southeast?
Clubs? I don't think I was in any club. But I did basketball, volleyball, cross country, and track. Those are my sports.
So you were a 4-sport athlete?
I was a 4-sport athlete.
Man, that's awesome. If I'm not mistaken, with kind of being the football coach, when I walk out to Spartan Field, there's some green signs out there on the field. What are those about? They have your name on it. What are those about?
Those are state titles for track and field. I don't know which ones are actually up, but those are some of them that are up.
Now, did you guys win a team title when you were in high school?
My junior and senior year. Too.
And then you won, I think, is it 4 events, 5 events? Was that, am I making that up, or 3 events, something?
It depends on how you count them, when you count them. I have a lot.
Yep.
We'll go with that. I have a lot.
Which is awesome. It's always cool. It's something that, when we talk about when we're out there just looking at it, it's like, man, that's freaking impressive. And that's something that we all want to strive as Spartans to be, is to get that green sign, right, and get it on the fence. And also, I'm sure there was one up. I didn't move into town until 2014, so I'm sure you had one coming into town, right? That said Springfield,
Yeah,
home of
you
Alex.
have, yeah, there's two. They split them on the sides when you come in. It's
Nice.
always exciting to see the first one. You're like, oh, I found it, because you never know where like what entrance they put it at. So
Yeah.
it's always fun to find them.
Was it like close to the entrance where you would take like coming into town for you, or was it somewhere else?
To be honest, I can't even remember where most of them were. I just remember my first one, but I got that in middle school, so that was the first one. It was actually really close to my house. I don't know how they decided to find that one, but it was perfect timing.
That's awesome. So you won one in middle school as well, huh? State title in middle school.
A few.
Man, you're very humble. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm trying
Uh,
to remember.
so what about, were there any, clubs or extracurriculars or anything that you would have wished you would have gotten involved in when you were in high school? And here is why sometimes the technology piece may affect us, as we have a freeze. All right,
Right.
so we're back. A little technical difficulties. We talked about that, kind of that, where we're at across the world here. So, what the question, Alex, was: is there any clubs or activities that you wish you would have gotten involved with in high school? Now that you're kind of out and looking back on your time.
Oh, that's tough because I feel like all of my time was taken, but probably some kind of arts class or I mean, I did band all through middle school, so not band. Maybe like a chess club or a scholastic bowl, something random.
I always, as I got older, I always thought, man, I would have liked to. I should have done an acting, or like tried to get in one of the plays. Even though, I mean, I was kind of the same thing. I played 3 sports, so a lot of my time was built around sports, and I did student council. But I was like, man, I wish I would have gotten involved with something else along those lines, because it just broadened my horizon a little bit. And so,
Oh, maybe student council. I was on yearbook, but so maybe student council.
all right. So when you were in high school, Alex, where was the weekend Southeast Hangouts? Where'd you guys go? What'd you guys do?
Whatever sport was that weekend.
Whatever sport. Okay.
I honestly couldn't tell you.
Well,
I wish I probably knew better, but probably just the football games for the week. If not, there were basketball games. I was always at sporting events. I didn't really hang out like as much as I thought I did. Now
yeah.
that you asked me that question.
Well, and that's and I think the same thing. Like some of the most memorable times were going to the other sporting events with your teammates, right? Like I
Yeah.
remember in high school, going down and watching the girls basketball playing, their games, or the regional sectionals, or going to volleyball state and stuff. And I looking back on it, those are some of the most fun times. And you're still doing it with your teammates, your classmates, and things. So I was kind of the same boat, right? Like you'd go do things and have fun. So what what is one thing that you hope has changed about Southeast High School?
I hope
Yeah, something.
Spirit gotten as big as it should have been. Like we always thought we were too cool for it, me included. I
Yeah,
hope they really like took a chance to really be embarrassed and go all the way out on Spirit Week.
yeah. Hey, yeah, it's that's something that I agree. Like, and we try and establish that culture as teachers and leaders where we're. I mean, I dress like a fool. Like I dress like Cousin Eddie for the Christmas Spirit Weeks, and then all those things.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's and we try and have some fun. Which actually, when I'm getting off this, we're gonna go film we're so it's gonna be out there, but we're filming a video to All I Want for Christmas Is You. And so I've got a Christmas. Yeah, we're gonna have some fun. The teachers are all getting involved and doing things, so it's gonna be a fun thing. And that's like we hope that with establishing that our kids, they like it, they get more involved and do things and just keep that Spartan spirit.
I feel like the teachers were super involved, but we just didn't, you just don't have that understanding of how you don't get a chance to be that kind of silly, really free person anymore. So that now that I'm older, it's like, man, I really miss out on the time I could just look the hot mess. And I looked a hot mess anyway, but like just didn't understand that we could have just really just embraced it and
Yeah,
took all.
that's sometimes we've all been there where we're like too cool high school kid, like I'm too cool
Yeah.
for this, and then that's try to get them involved. Let's have some fun with it. So what's one thing then that you hope hasn't changed?
What's one thing I hope hasn't changed? The student faculty dodgeball game. even though I didn't get to participate in it. That and probably, what was it, Chicken Day?
Oh,
That's just a staple, Chicken Day. You just that and the hot sauce, you need it.
we still have Chicken Day. I think it's Tuesdays. We don't have the dodgeball faculty game, the student faculty game anymore. We haven't had it since I've been here, so I don't know. That's maybe something I should bring up and say, hey, they're talking, they want to bring this back. So do you have, like, what was exciting about that dodgeball game? Was it like, what's your memories of that?
Just going, like, you had to have a certain amount of attendance and your grades had to be right to be there. But like once you're going, it's like, get that teacher. They always talking to me in the hallway. Like, get them. Like, it's a chance to kind of even the battlefield. And the same thing with teachers. I'm sure we get on y'all nerves. We give you gray hairs that you don't need to have too early. So it's like a little bit of both. And it's competitive and it's athletic and it's fun and you get to laugh and teacher gets you out and you're like, oh, and you never get to live it down. The whole school's like, you let him get you out? Like, so this is just that kind of cool environment where you get to relax and not always like feel so tight with the other people across the line of you.
I fear that if we were to bring that back, that I would get pelted. Like I'd have like 10 dodgeballs coming at me the first 2 minutes in. So maybe I'll be the referee or something. Then I'd. Probably still get hit. So.
Yep. If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. You'll figure it out.
So Alex, you talked about taking academics, very serious. You're pre-med in college. Um, when you were in high school, where did you go to study? Did you find a quiet place, or what were some of your study habits that you may want to pass on to high school students today?
I probably wish I had better study habits when I was in high school. I actually am a huge procrastinator, was through college too. Um, yeah, I tried to like be like my sister in the way that like she could watch TV and still do her homework, but I only worked through the commercials. So something that would have took me maybe an hour took 4 because I only worked in the 15-minute increments in between TV shows. I think the biggest thing is just stop, like really just be like, okay, just get it done. Like it has to get done. And it's easier if you just do it right away while it's still fresh on your mind. The minute you put it off, you'll probably forget it until your teammates or until one of your classmates are like, did you do the homework assignment? And you're like, what homework assignment? Oh, and then that's always a bad feeling. And you just feel always behind. It's better to be prepared than unprepared in anything in life.
I feel your pain on that procrastination. I like to say that I work better with my back against the wall. Like I like that deadline. But I feel that I was the same way. Where I'd always like, oh, you got a week to do this? Okay, I'll break it up in chunks, and then it would never work. And then here it is on Sunday night. I'm working my tail off because I got to get this project or paper or whatever done. So I feel your pain on that, Alex. I feel it. What is a piece of advice that you would give to a freshman coming into high school, coming into Southeast High School?
Don't take yourself too seriously. Really figure out who you are and be comfortable in your own skin. And you'll learn things that you didn't know that you wanted or didn't want based on the people you're around and the things you see. And just really trying to understand that you don't have to be mean to someone else to be who you are. You can be you without putting somebody else down.
Great advice. Just, and that's just be welcoming, right? And just be a kind person, and be thoughtful of others, right? And that's something that we can all of us could use, right? That at times we all kind of get into that funk. What advice would you give to a senior who's going to be graduating here in less than 6 months now, which it's crazy. What advice would you give to help them?
I would probably tell them to honestly enjoy this last 6 months, even with the situation, with everything going on. Try to find ways to really enjoy this kind of last bit of little like freedom, because this is a different level. It's a different level the minute you step out of high school. Whether you go to college, whether you go into the workforce, you have real responsibilities, and the kind of back and forth fun that you could have is not the same.
Yeah, there's a different level, right? Once you get that diploma and walk across that stage, it's a totally different world out there for you. And I always say, hear everybody say, well, man, I can't wait to graduate, get my diploma. And I was like, guys, that's when it gets real. And then you get the big boy and girl bills. And, you like you said, you can have that sense of carefree as a high schooler that you may not have the moment you walk across that stage. All right, so kind of switch to some gears here, Alex, a little bit. Tell us about, I want to know who's the most challenging person you ever played against. As let's say as a basketball player, okay, you got drafted in the WNBA, and it could be maybe it was high school or college, WNBA. Who was the most challenging player you ever played against?
The most challenging player I ever played
Somebody that
against.
gave you fits.
Fits or a headache? I would say
Yeah.
the hardest person who just never stops moving was Maya Moore. But the person who just welcomed me to the league was a girl, her name Raquana Williams. It was like no matter what I did, she made everything on me. I was like, they're like, she would even tell me, that's good defense, Rook. And then just went back laughing. I think she ended up having like 30 something. I was just like, it's painful. It's very painful.
So that was your welcome to the league moment, right? All of a sudden,
Welcome to the league moment.
what did your coach say to you after that? Do you remember?
She wasn't even like, she wasn't mad. She was just like, she was like, you were there, but she was like, you got to figure out a way. So I took some fouls and she was like, okay. And she had to sub me out. She had to, like,
Yeah.
I was getting demolished.
Yeah, and then you get
That's
frustrated, and
I was frustrated. I felt like I wasn't helping. And then it made me more nervous on offense to try to make up for the defensive mistake. And she was just like, we'll try again next game. I said, see, you're smart. You're smart.
what about what's the neatest place you've ever played? I mean, obviously you're in Tel Aviv right now, right? But what was the coolest atmosphere or the neatest stadium? Like, something on that. What was the coolest place you played?
That's tough. I'll say the coolest places I played in, like for college, I would have to say going to Tennessee was amazing just because of all of the history there was amazing. Mm, Probably the most obnoxious place to play it was Texas A&M.
Really?
They filled and it was NCAA tournament, so they filled their stands and it was brutal.
So
But it was a good experience. Like it's like one of those things you live up for, and it's like it's all you hear is just yelling. It was one of those like we couldn't hear each other on the court. It was just you got to play, and you got to know what we're doing.
so it's
So that
definitely a home court advantage, right?
for sure,
Did you
for
guys
sure,
win, or how'd the outcome come of that game? Did you guys win or lose?
we lost.
Lost. Was it close?
I mean, we were up. No, we were down 5 at half, and then second half they just ran away with it.
Ran away. What about, like, do you have any, like, what about in high school, now that the city tournament's the big thing? Do you have any fond memories of is there a memory of a game that stands out to you, or an event that kind of brings back those emotions, or if you see the kids talking about it on Twitter or Facebook or Snapchat that you're like, man, I remember my time, or going here? Do you have any of those memories?
Uh, I don't. I don't really remember like my own city tournament. Like I remember going to the guys city tournament. Like I just remember ours. I think I won 2 of my 4. I couldn't even tell you which 2 or if. But like I just remember being nervous like every day. Like, but I'm nervous for every game, like always. But like city tournament was a different kind of pride that came with like I would just didn't even get to take much pregame naps. I wouldn't go to sleep. I would just be like this, like I'm ready for the game. I'm ready for the game. I'm ready like just up the whole time. So just understanding that kind of rivalry. If you don't understand Springfield, you can't understand that kind of what city tournament means. Like you have to just have lived here, have been here, and have a side. You can't be neutral either. If you have to have a side for you to feel the pain.
So when like I said, this is year 7 for me in Springfield, and I got up here, everybody's like, you got to this city tournament, you got to this city tournament, and I'm like, all right. I mean, I grew up in Belleville. I went to in high school. There's 3 high schools in the town. I mean, there was big games, right? Like we had big rivalry games, and then my first city tournament, it was like, okay, I get it. I understand now. This is you pick a side. I mean, you're not, the one side or the other. It's nuts, and everybody goes all out. The convention center's packed. It's neat, and then the girls' city tournament is getting bigger, and it's fun to see that the rivalries and the crowds coming, and it's fun.
Yeah.
I never understood it. Like everybody's like, yo, just wait. And I was like, it can't be that. I mean, played in front of a couple thousand people, right? Like I lost in the sectional final to Bubba West, our rival, and like it was packed, but like nothing goes to those city tournament games. And it's crazy. You're
The whole city comes out from young to old. You walk by somebody in the wrong color and they looking at you like, why are you over here? Like it's craziness and it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's an amazing feeling as an athlete, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's definitely I couldn't imagine, right? Like it's got to be fun for those guys and girls to walk out on the stage in front of a packed house. So, what before we get off here, Alex, okay? The Spartan lady basketball. We have Coach Collins is coming back. So and Coach Collins coached you, right?
My first 3 years.
First 3 years. Okay, give me your best Coach Collins impersonation.
My best Coach Collins impersonation. That's tough.
The boys would always get him with that stroking and joking.
See, no, he probably just when we just keep messing up the same thing. He'd be like, God dog it, ladies, I just told y'all about that. Like he's just all the time. He's animated. He's full on. He's one of those. You have to be able to hear what he's saying and not how he's saying it because he's a yeller. He's very emotional.
Yeah.
He probably sweats through all his suits. He's up and jumping and just he's in it all the time. He doesn't have that kind of medium, like be cool. He doesn't have it.
No, as he's coached with me for 7 years now, so he's full go. And at times I'm like that. So he actually sometimes will calm me down, if you can imagine that. So, and that kind of leads me to the next segue. You're helping Coach Collins, right? Before you went over and played, you were helping do something. Tell us kind of a little bit of your role with Southeast girls basketball right now.
I was the player and program development. So it was kind of like I put together the programs in which they would work out with the summer. And there was a whole bunch of rules and regulations to this summer, especially.
Yeah.
But that's actually the reason why I actually got a chance to come back and help was because of COVID. Like it gave me an opportunity to come home, which I haven't been home in a long time. So I was home and I was like, oh, I'll help. Like it's cool. And I just like put them through some of the things and kind of the programs that we go through college just for them to understand. Like I thought I was prepared for college running. I did track. I was like, oh, I'm prepared. Like they sent over like a packet, like, oh, this is some preseason conditioning, like do it in the spring. And I'm like, I'm in track season. I'm not doing none of this. Like I run every day. Like,
yeah, it's a whole different ballgame, isn't it?
College running. I'm like, how is college basketball running more than track running? And it's god awful. So I was just trying to get them to understand like how much they needed to put into themselves to even give themselves a chance. Like if you're not giving 100% effort, you don't have a chance. So you have to give 100% effort, and then on top of that, you find where you are good and where you're great in areas.
And and for us looking at it, it's awesome, Alex, that you were able to come back. I mean, not with the terms of COVID, but that you were able to come back and and I'm not gonna lie, I stopped in and watched a couple practices and just the knowledge that you were helping the ladies with and being able to talk to them from a player perspective. You're not too far removed from their days in the gym as well as you're still playing. So I think it's that different voice. And I want to thank you because watching you interact with our girls and seeing the passion that you have for Southeast High School and Southeast High School sports was awesome because, I think if we were to ask you to come out and help with, track or anything, you'd get in there and you'd give that same attitude and effort. Cause like we say, we're Spartans, we stand tall and we do it. So it's
always
one of those things. So Alex, I'd like to thank you for being our inaugural, Alma Mater Monday, and just keep doing big things. And I just thank you very much. And don't be a stranger when you get back stateside. We expect to see you in the gym helping our young ladies.
Of course, thank you for having me. Hope I set the bar high. Good luck to all the next Alma Mater Mondays behind me.
Hey, great job.
Thank you.